Hello folks, welcome back to the channel and my continuing nightmare on this old Pioneer CT-F900. I'm starting this video on the day that my transport service video goes live, so you can tell just how long this one's going to take. This is part 5, trying to get into this thing to diagnose the recording amplifier, and hopefully by the end of this video we'll be able to make this thing record. I'm not entirely sure it's going to be possible because we've already had to replace one part in here that shouldn't have ever needed replacing, but whatever. We'll give it a shot, see where we get with it. Now, before we really get into this, I just wanted to mention towards the end of my transport service video, while I was actually editing that video, I noticed an issue with the transport. Basically, what was happening was the tape was curling around this tape guide here. And the cause of that, as I found out, was the pinch roller height adjustment on this side. See, what happened was, because I replaced the original nylon nut with a metal one, I didn't realize the nylon nut had a little area on it where there was no threads. So the nylon nut was effectively being able to push further back in than the metal one did. So how did I solve that? Well, fortunately I was thinking ahead during one of those DigiKey orders because I bought these. These are M3 nylon nuts. I bought them as just whenever I needed them. So basically what I did was I put 2 of these underneath the new metal nut, and I was finally able to dial that guide in. And as of right now, both channels are measuring at the same level. So that problem has been fixed completely. I have yet to get it back in there and realign the azimuth, but that's very simple to do from here. Anyhow, the other thing that I wanted to mention is I now have a DeckTech belt coming for the intercapstan belt on this. I was not happy with the too tight one from the WJOE kit, so that one came out. And right now it's got the original intercapstan belt, it's just inverted. So it's kind of running, I'll show you here. It's kind of running off the middle where it's supposed to be again. And there you can see it. It's running towards this way. I can't get it to track yet, but it'll probably dial itself in eventually because the reason it's doing that now is because it's inverted. It's basically got an uneven stretch on it from all those years of operation. But yeah, there's a DeckTech belt coming for this thing. One. I'm not replacing any of the other WJOE belts. The others are good enough. But yeah, sadly I can't recommend those belt kits for one of these. It bit me this time. Usually I source my own belts and idlers and I get everything individually, but this time I tried a belt kit and it didn't work out. So yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing that again. I'll just go back to the way I've been usually doing things. Now, let's get into this nightmare. I will admit right now that it took me 2 days worth of studying the service manual and all the schematics and in multiple parts and the foil side of this board in order for me to understand what the heck Pioneer was doing with this thing. So what do we know for sure? Well, we know that the right channel works fine. It's passing a signal in, it's going through the recording amplifier. I haven't actually tried recording, so I don't know if the bias oscillator in this thing works or not yet. Hopefully we'll find that out too by the end of this, and hopefully it is working because I'm getting tired of buying parts for this thing. But yeah, I'll show you exactly where things go in a second here once we go look at the service manual together. But basically the recording amplifiers are on these 2 boards here, along with the playback amplifiers and all that other stuff. These basically handle the audio for the entire unit. This one here is for the right channel, and this one here is for the left channel. These wires here join the microphone input. They come directly from the mic input jacks on the front. And this green wire is the signal coming back to these modules, and this blue wire is the signal going up to the to these big level controls here. So yeah, you've got the signal coming in through the back here, and it goes down somehow up to this switch, and this is where I suspect the problem is, but it may not be the problem. Could be a lot of things. Could be an open capacitor, could be a bad pot in there, could be bad wiring anywhere along here. But yeah, the signal comes to here, and then it goes down to these points here. It goes up through the blue wire. It goes into the level controls here, and then it comes back from the level controls into these boards. So that is where we're going to start this off. But let me just go back into the other room with you, and I'll show you the service manual. Okay, so we are looking at the schematics for this unit, and yeah, there's a lot going on here that's a little confusing, so that's why it took me so long to get this part of the video ready for you. But here's the line input up here, and here's the microphone input here. Now the line input, and we're looking at the left channel right now, the one that's acting up on this unit. The line in goes to this resistor here, so we're going to check that. And it comes down to this switch here. That's the one I showed you. That's the one that goes between mic and line input. And then it goes from there down to here to this VR1201-1. That's the front panel level control. Then it comes up here through this 4.7 capacitor, and it goes right into IC1001. Now, I mentioned that there might be a open capacitor causing this, and that would be it right there if it's open. So C1009 and IC1001, where are those? Well, they are on the integrated amplifier assembly, those riser cards I showed you. You can see I've got marked which is the line in and which are the various outputs, kind of, and whatnot. I've got them marked down there too on the foil side, just so I can keep things straight in my brain. But yeah, that's basically what we're going to do first, is we're going to trace the signal from here, down to here, down to here, and into here. At least that's the plan. I suspect the issue is close to where the line in jack is in the circuit. So either this resistor's open, the switch is having problems, but the pot's open, or this capacitor's open. And God help me if IC1001's open, because I don't know if I'm going to find that. It's a PA4001 proprietary Pioneer part. So, yeah, lots of fun to go here. Okay, so let's get into this. Now, before I set up the scope to do some signal tracing and signal injection, which is what I'm going to do to hopefully find the problem on this, before I do that, what I want to do is I want to check this switch here just to be sure it's working. I have cleaned this, and I've cleaned all of the others, but I don't know if you can see it too well. But look at the ungodly amount of corrosion on those pins. It's very possible that this corrosion extends all the way into this switch here, to the point that we would have to take it apart just to service it, because in my experience, once switch contacts get to the point that these legs are at, yeah, you can't just spray them and have them work. You have to actually get in there and use some elbow grease and possibly get out the autosol and polish the contacts again. But yeah, that's putting the cart before the horse. What we need to do right now is make sure that switch is actually working or not. Because if it is working, we don't have to get in there just yet. I might have to do it anyway, but whatever. All right, and we're just going to check for continuity. Where can I set this up so you can see? This might be tricky because I've got my my little hook probes on this thing. but we'll give it a shot. Okay, so the line in comes to the front pins on this switch, and the mic input goes to the back pins on this switch, and the middle pins are the common that go off into the rest of the circuitry. So let me see if I can free up a little more space here. Okay, I'm just gonna hook onto that beast. Maybe not. I might have to actually hold this. I'll just go like this. Okay, that side works. Okay, so we do have continuity, so the switch is currently working. So let me just check here something else. What I want to do is, there's supposed to be a direct connection between this pin here and this one down here. This is the left channel, so I'm going to hook onto that now. And we do have a connection there. So we know the switch is currently working, and we know there is a good connection between this switch and the left channel wire that goes up to the pot. So time to get the scope out, and we'll see what we can find out with that. Okay, I hope you guys can see what I'm doing here. I'm going to fire up the scope now. I've got the signal generator connected to the left channel line in on the back panel. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put 1 kilohertz in at, let's see here. We'll do 0.5 volt. And I'm going to turn the deck on. And what we're going to do is we're going to watch the front panel for deflection on the meters. See if I can maneuver you so you can see it. Okay, I'm going to start the signal generator. And I'm going to go over to the oscilloscope. Now, as you can see, we've got nothing on the meters right now. And I should mention, I have checked the tape source switch off camera, and it too is working, so we can rule that out as well. I forgot to do that with you guys on camera, but yeah, I've checked it. So things should be running now. So I'm gonna find me a ground point here that's not too far away, hopefully. And we're going to look for the signal. Now, I don't know which resistor is actually the one I need to test here, but we're going to test that resistor first, the one I showed you on the schematics. So, I got to get my flashlight here so I can see what I'm doing. And I'll just start probing. Nothing on that one. Oh, there's our signal right there. So it's good to that side of the resistor. How about the other side? And yes, so the resistor is fine. Let me just auto this. Okay, so where does the signal go from there? Well, it goes to the switch, doesn't it? So let's check the switch next. I got to move my ground point over so I got enough room to work here. That looks like the signal is there. It's kind of weak, but it is there. Oh, don't do that to me. Yeah, the signal's there and that pin is extremely dirty. Yes, very much there. Okay, now we'll check going into the front panel potentiometer. That's this one right here. It's the front one on the adjustment, but it's the back potentiometer in the actual assembly. Okay, so that works. So let's check at the recording amplifier, which is, I remind you, well, maybe I shouldn't remind you. I should point it out here. So the next position to check is this up here. Line in pin 3. And it corresponds to this one on the foil side of the board, so it's the third one in from this side. But I'm going to check the wire coming back from the front panel potentiometer first. Oh, nothing there. Just for clarity, let me try the right channel. No, nothing on the right channel. Let me swap the signal over to the right channel and we'll see if that's working at that point. Oh, I guess it would help if I turned this up, wouldn't it? Yeah, the signal is there. Now I got to check the left channel again because I had those pots all the way down. You'd think I'd learn to think before doing these videos, but sometimes I don't. All right, let's check again. No, there's nothing there. Did we just find our problem? Well, let me just check something real quick here. I'm gonna touch on those points with my finger. And usually what happens with audio circuits when you do that is it introduces a buzzing into the signal. So we should see the meters deflect once I touch these things. Okay, there's right channel right there. Ooh. Look at that. The left channel is there. Okay, so that means these two cards are both working. Interesting. So, what do you say we check the microphone input next? I don't think this will affect much, but it could. All right, so we'll go into the right channel first, and yes, full deflection there. How about the left channel? Oh, nothing. Not a thing. Now the microphone inputs go directly back into those integrated amplifier boards, and then they come back out through the potentiometers and then go right back in. So it's kind of weird the way they've got this set up. Oh, there's a little bit of noise there. Actually, maybe even a little bit of signal. Oh, that could be just background noise too. Who knows? Anyway, I'm going to shut off the signal generator now. I'm going to shut off the scope now, actually, because I think we're getting this problem isolated to the to either the front panel pots or the wiring between the assemblies here. Very strongly thinking that's where this is heading. So I'll get my scope stuff out of the way. We'll come back over here. And where's my meter? Okay, now we're going to do some measurements. I don't know if that helps you see any better, but it might. So I'll turn it on. I've got lots of batteries in case this thing goes dead. I'm going to try the right channel first because we know that works. Okay, I did release the tape line switch. Okay, we've got 15 kilo ohms there, and this is directly measuring the potentiometer for that channel with the two wires in the circuit. So let's see here. Okay, we've got 19.6 kilo ohms wide open, or not wide open, all the way down. And wide open we've got 21 ohms thereabouts. So I'm going to go midpoint again, just like I had it. This is what we should expect from the left channel, so let's go over to the left channel. If I can get the little hook to go on. All right, left channel, right there. Oh, I thought we had a reading for a second there, but no. OL means open loop. That is not good at all. Please do not tell me we have a bad pot. I don't know if I would even be able to find these things to replace them. And if I do find them, they're probably going to be on eBay with traditional eBay scalper pricing going on. This makes me nervous. So the problem is definitely these wires or the pot, or possibly the board that's attaching everything up there. So I'm going to go to continuity check here, and I'm going to replace my my hook probe with a traditional one, because I want to see whether or not the wiring's at fault. Okay, we'll go like that, and I will plug this in, and we're going to listen for the beep. I'll show you where I'm probing. I'm going to try to get access to these wires back in here. See if I can do it that way. I may not be able to do this without pulling the entire pot assembly out of there, but we're going to try. All right. Okay, so the blue wire is good. How about the green wire? Or rather green-yellow, because it's the yellow one inside the green wire we're testing here. All right, let's try this again. This one's a bit harder to contact. Well, Shazbut, it's not the wire. It's the pot, or the board that mounts to the pot. So, I can see where this is heading. I'm going to have to get that pot out of there, just so we can look at it, and hopefully if there's something wrong with it, I can fix it. But it looks like what I need to do is I need to get this board off first, because otherwise the pots will not come out from there. They're shielded underneath this little metal. Well, it's not really metal. There's this little shielding thing over top, and yeah, this board's in the way, so you can't lift it directly out that way, so it'll have to sneak out through here, I guess. Alright, so typically, Pioneer just had to fight me on this one. I ended up having to take the entire front of the machine off in order to access some of the screws I needed to free up that board. Because, you see, these switches are mounted to the front panel. So you've got to free those up before you can even move that board. So, yeah, fun times. Anyway, I've got the pot assembly loose now. I should be able to get it out, but Real quick, before we do that, I'll just show you these washers on here real quick. Yeah, you can see them right there. Those are the new washers, the clear ones. And as you can see, I've already got this paint locked again, so it doesn't go anywhere. So yeah, that's that repair, but we need to get in here and try to free up these pots to take a look at them. Might as well do this part on camera. I'm sure it won't be fun, but I just need to make sure I don't damage any of these switches in front here while I'm manipulating this board. I'm trying not to put any excess stress on it. Okay, if I can just get a little more wiggle room here, maybe I can get these pots out. Maybe pigs will fly. All right, I got them out. So let's have a look here. Okay, right away I see a bad solder joint on this rear pot, and that is the one for the left channel. So how about I fix that up real quick, and we'll see if that cures the issue. Of course, the soldering iron's cold, so you'll have to pardon me while I wait for that to warm up. I hope this is the only problem, because I do not want to replace this. I looked on eBay to see what the pricing was like, and yeah, it's going to be 40 bucks for me to get another one of these, if I decide to even do that. But yeah, it's kind of encouraging to see that one is not soldered down. That position right there comes to this here, which attaches to the blue wire, so the input wire is not even getting any contact there. So let's solder that up and maybe that'll fix it. I'm not going to put it back in there until we do some more continuity checking and resistance measurements with the meter though. I've gotten it apart this far, but I don't want to put it all the way back together if I'm just going to be back in here anyway replacing this. Heaven knows how long it's been like this. While I'm at it, I'm going to hit the other pins as well. It's always good to be thorough when you have something apart this far, especially when it takes so much to get to it. And I've got some new solder on order now. I noticed my spool is getting a little thin, so I used that as an excuse to hit up Mauser for a bunch more Nikon Muse capacitors. I'm getting quite a stockpile going. I'm basically stocking up on all the Muse parts that are going end of life. So yeah, that should do it there. We're going to find out for sure whether or not that fixed it in a second. I'll try and set that around midpoint. Just for now. See if I can get the meter into the shot. Keeping in mind I need to connect to these pins down here. I'll put my hook probes back on the meter. We'll go ohms again. I'm going to check the right channel first, just to keep you all in suspense. Right channel looks good. Same as before. Left channel. Oh, thank you, Jesus. It's working. So the only problem was a bad solder joint at the pot board. Oh, I'm glad it was that easy, because I don't want to spend another 40 bucks on this machine. Unless it's to replace that marked up piece on the front panel that doesn't look good. But yeah, fixed that problem pretty easily, so how about I get this back together and we can continue. Okay, so who's ready to find out whether or not my repair was successful? Now before I put this back together, and I should warn you now that the cover screws are still off on the Pioneer just in case I have to get back into it, but we are about to find out exactly what's what with this unit. Now I'm going to use the BX150 here as a signal source. And let's see here. Type 1, turn that off. And we're just going to see if this machine is working now. And if it does work, I'm going to try and lay down a recording from this tape, and we'll see if that works too. But let me fire up the test receiver here. All right, let's see what we got. Start that playing. And I've got both channels. That's the formerly dead channel right there. Gonna rewind a bit. I'll use a type 1 for this. Now, I don't know exactly how to get this thing into record mode, so you'll have to forgive me if it's a little weird, but okay, pause. Okay, should be taping now. And we're rolling. Let's find out what we got. It is recording. I can't believe it. We've got this thing across the finish line. Well, we've almost got it across the finish line. I've still got one more capacitor to replace in there, in the power supply. But that's the only one. Happy is the man who has worked on this for now 5 videos. But yeah, this is not the recording and playback test. We're going to do that later once the new belt gets here for the intercapstan, because this thing is still running at 0.14% wow and flutter, which is not good. What this thing should be running at is 0.045 or something like that. And I really want to try and get that into control. Because the tape guide issue had the tape curling around this head guide in here, I had wound flutter as high as 0.25%, which is so far out of the ballpark, it's ridiculous. But yeah, after getting that guide height dialed back in, it immediately dropped to about 0.14 or something like that, and it's been there ever since. But yeah, I'm hoping the brand new intercapstan belt will fix that. Yeah, she's working. Let's try with the neck and we'll see what kind of a recording it gives us. Yes, very happy with that. Now I could go back into this unit and start plugging in a bunch of Nikon Muse capacitors into the playback circuits or the recording circuits or something like that, but honestly, for what this thing cost me, I think I'm done right here. I'm glad I don't have to order another $40 set of potentiometers for this thing, but yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye out for this piece here, and if I can find it for less than 50 bucks, I'll buy it. If I can't find it for less than 50 bucks, it's not happening. What I'm thinking of doing, strongly thinking of doing, is ordering the Japanese version of this CT-F900 as well. And if I do that, I'll try and get one that has this piece in good shape, because it's the same piece, essentially. But yeah, the Japanese version is the CT-910. And the CT-920 in Japan is their version of our CT-F950. So yeah, it's a bit confusing the way Pioneer has things set up. One more segment here before we get to the record and playback test. The capstan motor in this thing is not very good anymore. I'll tell you that right now. I decided to get inside it to hopefully service it and try to get this thing performing a little better for wound flutter. And I was not able to fully get it apart. It's kind of a weird construction, just like the real motor was, but I decided I wasn't going to fight it for too long, so I did manage to get some oil down into the bearings and such. And I cleaned the commutator as best I could. I could not get at the brushes because I couldn't take the motor apart. I don't know what's going on with that, but I ended up just sticking a Q-tip soaked in acetone through and just cleaning it that way, and hopefully it's working a little better now. I think it is, but for wound flutter, still not so good. This number started out at 3005 after I got done adjusting it. So, and yeah, the wound flutter is just really not that great. It should be a lot better than this on this machine. So the capstan motor is going to have to be replaced on this machine eventually. I don't want to do it just yet. I'm thinking about sticking in my other capstan motor I got for the Excelia. I got two of them. One is a spare. I could put that one in there. But the other issue is there's a little capacitor on the controller board in this motor, and I didn't have a replacement for that. Otherwise, I would have done that too. But ooh, something's getting warm. It's the playback resistor. That's not unheard of. Anyhow, I'm going to adjust this a little bit more so we can dial it in a little better. Those playback resistors do get hot. What I'm talking about is the, I'll show you here. It's this big resistor here. And there's nothing really you can do about that, but keep your fingers out of the way when it's running. So I'm going to tweak this again some more. It's drifted down. Oh, right there, we brought her back around again. I don't know how long she'll stay that way, but I'm going to try not to put that other motor in until this one completely fails or something. I'm going to let this one break in for a while. It might still come back around, I don't know. But this machine is going to be basically playback only, so I'm not too worried about whether or not it does wow and flutter properly. Now I'm going to probably check the azimuth yet while I've got it apart like this, just to be sure it's on point, and then we can do the record and playback test.
If you'll be there, problems will disappear. 'Cause I got this crazy idea, made for just us to let our fantasies live. That's what we should do. Don't bring nobody, it's a private affair. baby, baby.
So now that I'm finally at the end with this thing, what are my thoughts about it? Well, it is my favorite tape deck of all the ones in my collection so far. Granted, it doesn't have metal capabilities, and you can't adjust the bias for chrome tape. It doesn't seem to matter that much for at least the one I tried on it. I tried my favorites, the Maxell XL2s, and I couldn't be more impressed with this thing, considering it's from 1978. Yeah, it really did a fantastic job recording to that tape. Now, I will mention something. Even though I like to leave my azimuth screws unlocked so I can get in there and tweak on them as time goes by, I found that I can't do that with this machine. I ended up having it fall so far out of adjustment on its own that I had to completely readjust it again, and I promptly paint locked it, so it's not going anywhere now. But yeah, absolutely my favorite cassette deck in the whole collection. And I've got a spot cleared out for it on my nightstand right next to my bed, because that's where it's going to be spending most of its time now. It's going to be playing all my vaporwave tapes while I go off to sleep. At least that's the plan. So, yeah, I am extremely impressed with this thing. Do I want a 950, a 1250, and maybe even an A1? Sure, of course I would. But I'll be honest with you, I don't see the A1 being as halfway as attractive as one of these things is, or the 950 or 1250. Now, the A1 was also available in the United States as the Phase Linear 7000, I do believe, and that one looks fantastic, but I've heard those things are a nightmare to service, and they're probably expensive as hell, so I'm really not presuming to find one anytime soon. So until I find a 950 or a 1250, this guy here is my favorite. And I've got some real amazing stuff over here on the shelf now. Bunch of really nice Sonys. We've got this Pioneer I've got to get into. That one looks fantastic. I hope it sounds as good as the 900 does. And also, this came in the other day. Yes, I got a second DCC machine. That's it right there. You're going to have to wait a while to know whether or not this one works. I've decided to just hold off on this until it's across the finish line. So, haven't really started on it yet, but we'll find out what it's like by and by. It's a second generation machine, so it should be halfway reliable, not like this piece of crap is. Anyhow, coming up in the next few weeks, I got a couple of Technics videos to come. This guy here, the RSB 755, is finished now. I've shot the video, it's all ready to go, but I'm holding off on it so you guys can see the finale on the Pioneer 900. And I also shot the first video on this guy. And this is probably the next one you're going to see, unless I cross the 1,000 subscriber mark. In which case, you'll be seeing the Nakamichi 480 at some point in there. I don't know exactly where. I've got several weeks worth of videos planned in advance so I can have the time I need to do the NAC 480. But yeah, it's coming. I'll start on it as soon as I cross the 1,000 subscriber mark. I've got at least 3 or 4 weeks worth of videos in the pipeline, just in case, but yeah. Some of you may be wondering exactly how I shot the record capture on the Pioneer. Well, here you go. This is my Nikon Z50. I use it a lot for video, not so much for stills, because my D800 does stills better than this thing does, but yeah, Nikon Z50. I shot it in 4K so I can do panning and scanning with the footage. And this is one of the best lenses I have. This is a Nikkor AFD 1.4, 85mm. This is known as the cream machine. It is the best lens I have, by far. And I ran this at about f2.8 to get the footage, because at f1.4, the depth of field is so shallow that you couldn't see what was going on in the display. it was all out of focus. I could focus on the cassette over here, and then everything over here would be out of focus. So yeah, I had to do f2.8 to get that. But yeah, I'm so glad this thing's done now. It was worth it. Every part of this was worth it. I'm about 400 or 450 bucks into this thing now. I believe it's more like 400, but yeah, the new belt is sitting in there nicely, and she's still going to need a capstan motor at some point. It'll probably get that one of the two Matsushita motors I got for the Excelia XK007. The 007 can have one, and this guy can have the other one, as far as I'm concerned. But I'll run this one for a while yet and see if it settles down some more. I don't care if it doesn't have the world's best wow and flutter. It's supposed to be 0.045. It's not going to do that without a new capstan motor, I'll tell you that right now. But it's not here to record. It's here to look beautiful and make me happy, and it does that beautifully. So anyhow, I guess that's going to be it for today, guys. I'll see you next time. Take care.